I know what is right from what is wrong.
Yeah.
But I regard everybody's opinion and everybody's philosophy. I'm going to put over what I know is right. I'm not going to use force, because Christianity is not force. It's persuasion, whosoever. So any Christian leader should not apply force.
Let me ask you a question that comes to my mind. Because I understand that Marcus Garvey met Haile Selassie.
I'm not aware of that, because when the emperor leave Ethiopia and come to England, Marcus Garvey died on the 10th of June. And the emperor came to leave Ethiopia and come to London in the same 1940 or late 1939. And Garvey was in prison. The only way that was for him to meet Garvey if he had to go to the prison to visit Garvey. Otherwise, a person who may say, but from my knowledge, for him to do that, he had to go to the prison to see Garvey.
Okay, then, fair enough then. Okay, we don't want to cause any confusion.
But Garvey had speak of the emperor, and Garvey, when the war declared, Garvey, because Garvey had organized 6 million black into the UNI, Garvey had his own brigades, Black Cross nurse, commissaries and whatnot, right? And Garvey was offering physical men to come to Ethiopia to fight. But the colonial people put Garvey against the emperor and the emperor against Garvey. I do not know if you heard this, but my investigation, both from Ethiopian point of view and from leaders with Garvey movement, Garvey had wrote the emperor offering what assistance of we within the West, because the immersion of the Jamaican, before the Ethiopian war, there were no persons in Jamaica calling themselves Rastafarian.
Right.
And the war that made them adopt that name. So the immersion and the love towards Ethiopia, the emperor of Jamaican, have led to the rise. And Garvey had written the emperor offering, but posts had to go through the colonial.
I've heard that.
And they did not allow the letter to reach to the emperor. They took it and they burned the forend and they posted back to Garvey. So Garvey thought the emperor did not think that and did that. And therefore Garvey at that stage started criticizing the emperor.
Right.
You see, the divide and rule system.
Divide and rule, that's what keeping us apart all the time.
And there are knowledgeable persons who in Garvey movement and some knowledgeable Ethiopians I gathered that information from.
Okay then. I want to ask you a question about Garvey's, do you know anything about his wife?
Yes, I met Amy Jacks Garvey.
Okay then.
We had brought her to Trinidad. Some years she was a guest speaker with us. Okay. So Garvey had 2 wives. Yeah. Because he had divorced the first one. Yeah. And so on. So I met both.
Both named Amy. Both named Amy. Understand, isn't it? Yeah. Both his wife named Amy. Yeah.
Yes, Amy Jacks Garvey.
Okay then. And what they like? I mean, was she very powerful?
Yes, she was very powerful. But again, she had indifference with the movement. And there was competition after that. Though one of the wife was the divorcee, but there was competition within them.
Okay then. And I don't know if you heard of this, you probably might have heard of him, a scholar called Tony Martin. Tony Martin, he writes a lot of books about Marcus Messiah Garvey. He's from Trinidad, in fact.
Yes, many persons wrote, and one of the most comprehensive books that was written of Garvey by George Padmore, who became chief advisor of Kwame Nkrumah.
Right.
In 1962, I met George Padmore in London here. And George Padmore gave me all the detail about Kwame Nkrumah and whatnot and so on. And to get to Trinidad, it's a Dinglefoot, a QC, who was hired to plead Nkrumah case when I arrived in London in 1952.
That's quite interesting, because I've always heard about George Padmore. What kind of person was George Padmore? What was it?
George Padmore was a Trinidadian.
Right.
He used to work with the Trinidad Gazette as a writer. And he went up to the state and he took his degree in journalism.
Right.
He was recruited by the Russia to Moscow, let's say for education, but for indoctrination. And he was recruiting persons from Africa, the United States, the Caribbean, to go to Russia for education outright, but it was mostly indoctrination in socialism.
Right. Because George Padmore, I understand, organized one of a big conference in the UK around that time there. Am I right saying that?
Yes, Padmore was because he was in London.
Okay. Then.
And Padmore is who coached Dr. Eric Williams.
Is that so?
C.L.R. James, Norman Manley, Mosehab, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Kwame Nkrumah. Is Padmore who coached all of them in African nationalism.
Okay then.
Yes. Padmore was there. Yeah. And Padmore, when Ghana got independence, became the chief advisor, which brought envy among the Ghanaians. And they claimed that Kwame Nkrumah was only a shadow, but Padmore. And Padmore was poisoned in Ghana.
He was poisoned in Ghana,
yes. And Nkrumah would not allow any doctor to attend. He flew into London. Dr. David Pitt, which is Grenadian, but Trinidad citizen, was in London. David Pitt became one of the first three in the House of Commons, black. And so I have a little idea.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I want to bring it round to
any subject.
Yeah, and you have it covered. I want to bring it back around like today. Where do you see the future of black people today, my brother?
Well, not all that I am speaking of, not halfway, because after I read the Bible, it's the most comprehensive, and the Bible has everything from beginning to ending. And today, the honest answer for the demographic problem is Christ's return. And I was at Georgia University. I was doing a course on agriculture from growing to manufacturing of peanut. And you know, Georgia is a southern state, yes, discriminated. And I said, white people do not hate black people. White people is afraid of black. If I hate you, I don't want to hear your name called. I don't want to know what you do. But if I'm afraid of you, I want to know everything about you. And if I'm afraid of you, you put in your hand in your pocket to take out a kerchief, I believe it's a gun you come at me after. And I may venture to kill you. But when I don't kill you, it's a kerchief you take. That is fear. Because of the atrocity that their parents had done to our parents, they're afraid. I said, and there's no coincidence. That's why I do not bear malice. I take the drama. All is a drama. Every vegetable have its in. When we view plants biology, it takes spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Every season, it's inevitable the season must come on. And then during each season has its own vegetation.
Right. So
I told them at Georgia, we have in Trinidad or the West Indies a plant we call sorrel, which make you know sorrel. Yeah, sorrel. And no matter what time you plant sorrel, it's not going to bear until you have long nights and short days. So during this time, sorrel would bear. So it is. Ethiopia, or after the flood, the Hamitic reached to its height. The great primitive of Egypt and structure in Ethiopia and whatnot and so on. Ethiopia fell, Egypt come on the scene. Egypt fell, Libya came on the scene. Libya gave to the world writing or papyrus or navigation. Because the first set of boat built by the papyrus, and they were sailing the sea. And if you go into the Andes, Peru and those countries, you'd find in the caves papyrus and hieroglyphic writing. So long before Columbus discovered the West Indies, the Africans were there. And from my reading the Bible and discovery, the people in the Western world, in North America we have the Red Indian, but let's deal with the Caribbean. The Arawaki and the Caribs were a mixture of Chinese and African.
Right.